Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. You are now tuned into the cut.
Cutting and scratching.
Cut.
My cut is correct.
Each cut is totally arranged.
Why chillin' the cut.
Yo, welcome to The Cut. Once again, it is your man, Uncle Catfish, DJ IV.
And we're back.
We are back. We're wrapping up season 1. It's been an amazing season, but we couldn't leave without bringing in one of the greatest ever to do it out of the East. Coming with new music. He is absolutely a pillar. It's the man himself, Classified.
Half-Life's in the building.
Boom. And now that we've blown his eardrums, welcome, sir.
Whoa, how you guys?
How you doing?
I'm good.
We come in pretty hot usually.
That was big.
That's how we like to do it. You like those horns?
I like that. That's IV style. IV likes the big epic.
Doesn't he?
The anthems.
Doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly my style.
You know, I was trying to make it really minimalist, and he was like, no, it's got to be a whole. No. What have you been up to today, sir?
Today?
What'd you do? What's the first thing you did this morning?
This right here.
No, I didn't
Nah,
smoke.
you don't-
I usually get my work done first.
Yeah?
What did I do this morning? I didn't work out. I usually try to do
Are
some
you a
push-ups.
coffee
but I
guy
didn't
like
do
right
it.
away? Coffee?
Don't do coffee.
No coffee?
No.
Ever?
My wife has me on the lemon water.
Lemon water's
That's
good.
good for you.
Yeah,
It is
Is
try
there
to
any
do that.
cayenne in there?
I got to do it really warm, though. I don't like when it's cold, so I get really hot. No cayenne.
Shouldn't be too cold because that, or too hot. That's not good. It needs to be like lukewarm. See that? Lukewarm. See that? Perfect. That's what you call it when it's right for you.
I had some lemon water, and then I had a bagel.
Okay.
Everything bagel that should have had herb and garlic cream cheese, but I went with peanut butter today.
Whew. You trying to
Get
like
the protein up,
get
right?
that protein up? Yeah. You putting on pounds for tour?
Try to get going, right?
Do you
get the energy up?
Before you head out on a tour, which we'll get to that, but before you do that, do you think about like, water cutting, like cutting the water and getting ripped, and does that
No.
cross your mind?
No.
No, you're not like ripping a shirt
I
off
try to
every
work
night.
out. Like I'm one of those guys that always tries to work out. Lasts usually like maybe 2 months at the most,
2 months.
and
I
then
don't
it
even
kind of
get that
just
far.
goes
Yeah.
away, and then you start again 6 months later, and
Yeah.
you don't really get anywhere. But I think it keeps it consistent.
Yeah.
Kind of balance things out.
Yeah.
You guys always having push-up contests.
Yeah. When I'm on the road, like that's one thing we do because we don't do anything. We basically go from the bus to the venue, once in a while to the hotel, but try to work out. I work out more on the road than any place.
You're not a man of a whole lot of vices,
No, couple.
seemingly. Is that something you've had to like purposely be that way, or is it just the way
Oh, yeah,
the way the
I'm
dice
addictive.
fell?
I'm a very addictive personality.
You know what I mean? Some people never go to places. They just never do. But some people they're like, ooh, I gotta stay away from that. You're an addictive personality.
Yeah.
Do you think if you went like heavy into like booze or something, you'd just become alcoholic?
No, booze is actually one that I never really got addicted to because on tour, like we'll drink for 30 days straight, and I can go home and I don't have a drink for 2
Really?
weeks, and I'll drink on the weekend with some friends or whatever,
Yeah.
shows and stuff. But that's one thing I never got addicted to.
No.
But music, like when I was into hockey, music, when I was into skateboarding, whatever it was, I would just be like, oh, this is what I'm doing
Like
now.
a focused.
Yeah, I just get
mind.
very focused, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
Even with weed, you know what I mean? Like weed was something I didn't start smoking until later on, until I was like 21, really.
Really?
And that was like a casual thing, and then slowly it was like, okay, I smoke weed now.
I gotta commend you for not being an alcoholic though.
I know,
just
like I
seeing-
really didn't think about it till you just asked that
just
question. I'm
seeing
like,
the
it's
amount
kind
of
of
liquor
weird.
that's around.
But also being from the East Coast.
Yeah,
We're all a little
just
bit.
that lifestyle, but
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always around. It's always, 90% of the time it's free.
Right.
it's always there.
Everybody wants to get you a drink.
But
yeah. But even like a show is for a rider. Like we'll have our drinks backstage. It's all there, and usually I'll have a couple drinks every show.
But nothing crazy.
But then sometimes
Well, yeah.
it gets
you get
crazy.
drunk.
Sometimes.
That's a blue moon for me.
But then I can go home and can be completely. I'm not like, oh, I got to
Right.
drink tonight. Like,
As a guy who's like describing himself as someone who kind of like gets obsessed about something, or you say addicted to it, like music or whatever, is
Yeah.
do you ever find that to be a problem of finding like the different thing, or like changing paths because of a way that you're saying like, this is what I am, or this is who I am, or I don't do those things and I do those things, that in that sort of focused way that is it ever where you have to go, whoa, like I'm too focused, I got to pull out so that I don't miss things kind of thing? Pause off.
Yeah, yeah.
We had that
no.
off-screen pause on that one. I could
A little
feel
bit,
that
like
pause.
even with music, like when I get into it, and you know, when we started touring a lot, and then I had kids, it was like, okay, I got to make sure I'm not just focusing on that.
Right.
And I think that's something that I definitely got better with as I'm getting older, is just learning how to go, okay, let me turn this off for a minute.
Right.
Okay, I turn it back on, and then
Right.
focus, and then okay, let's turn it off. Yeah,
It changes the whole creative process to do that, though, doesn't it?
it does. And a lot of the times you can't turn it off. Like even in
No.
changes, like I'm in the house, I'm
Yeah,
working on a
I
song.
love that line.
I'll go in the house and I'm like, okay, it's time to hang out with the kids. Hey, what are you doing? The kids are telling me, and I'm like, still thinking about the song.
Yeah, yeah.
And going, and in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? Just turn it off for a sec. Just focus. And you know, that's just kind of how I am. I think there's a good thing and a bad thing about it. So
This is the mind of a creative person. You wouldn't make the stuff you make without that kind of focus. Like
Totally.
I often think artists, like, you want, maybe this is talking from sort of a bigger societal level, but like I want my artists obsessed. I want them obsessed. I don't want them to like lose their shit, but like overall, but I want them to focus heavily on something, because the artist brings that artistic mind to it that finds a way to sort of respin something we all know in a way we haven't looked at, and it helps us sort of broaden our understanding of that.
Yeah.
But if they're not that focused, it's like I don't want my scientists to just be all like willy-nilly. I want them focused on what the fuck they're doing, and I want my artists that way too, and they dig deeper that way. So like I think that's an attribute that's really important.
I think that's when the best stuff comes out, is not when you're sitting in the studio playing the beat and you're just sitting there, okay, what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
But when you are in the house and you're doing something, and something pops in your head and like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's the stuff that's like that's how I wrote that line, which a lot of people told me, like, I love how you're saying that you do that, because I do the same shit. I go to work, I come home, try to spend my time with my kids,
Yeah.
but I'm still thinking about work.
There's the poetry of everyday life right there, where it's like that moment that we all relate to, where it's that you just, and that's something I want to commend. I mean, I was saying this earlier when I was talking to the devil. I like saying that because people are like, man, this dude's like totally a Satan worshiper. Every week he's on there talking to the devil.
Nobody knows who the devil is.
Nobody knows. I was talking about the way that I like your I don't want to say your poetry, but like your lyrics, in how plain they can be like that.
Totally.
So plain. They're not and nothing against like wordplay craziness.
No, and that's
but
one,
it's
one
so
thing
real
I've always
that it's like
experiment back and forth was, because I hear some people and they'll say some shit and you're like, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Could be taken a lot of different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
And I've wrote songs like that, and sometimes it works, but 90% of the time I'd finish and I'd be like, I'm not saying nothing in this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm really not hitting no specific thing, and that's something that I'm like, sometimes I'll just bluntly say what it is. No mystery to what I'm trying to say. My kids
No
walk up,
mystery.
whatever it is. It's just plain as day, like we're having a conversation. I'm not trying to be this deep spiritual guy and, you know, take my message how you want. Like, this is what I'm talking about. And, you know, I think that's another thing that some people love about my shit, some people don't like about my shit.
But you put it in a way that
Fair
so
enough.
many people can relate.
People that are going through the same thing, definitely.
But that's so many people though, like, and that's why your music hits so many.
Yeah, and I
You know
think
what I
that's
mean?
even like when I'm writing it, you know, that is in the back of my mind of something, like when, you know, what it's like when we're on the road, anything, and we say something like, oh man, that's going to be a song.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like no one's ever said that. Everyone knows this and thinks this, but no one's ever put it like that. But,
Right.
you know what I mean? I find that's the best shit that people are like, oh yeah.
I want to get into all that in very like specific detail about the first EP that's coming out soon. But I want to go back. I want to start in a place. I want to start in the beginning, so to speak. Where this is a segment we like to call First Cut. Put that in there. So my first question to you, we're going to do some first. Now, the first one we already covered really was what you do first thing in the morning, which is not know what he's doing. So clearly he's a little disoriented first thing in the morning.
I wake up and do emails. That's kind of what I
Oh, I
do.
thought he was going to say E. I wake up and do
I wake
E.
up and do ecstasy
I should have
every
told
morning,
y'all.
like, yeah.
Fuck, I forgot to mention. I've been doing E since I
The
woke up.
secret to all this
Addictive
shit.
personality.
This
man. I
table
tried it
is
once, and,
really feels great. Okay. So I want to know the very first time you went on a stage as an MC. To
first time
MC.
I rapped, like,
Yeah.
was at a school dance. You remember the like the Much Music
Hell yes.
school dances?
Hell yes.
It was like that. Naughty by Nature, Hip Hop Array. At the end of that song, the beat goes on for like 50 seconds.
Mhm.
That was like the first time it was like, give me the mic, let me go do it. I sucked, but it
How
was
did-
like hands.
who did you tell?
It
Like,
was fun.
Who did you ask to do that? Like the DJ
Just
that
like the two
came?
DJs, yeah. We
yeah.
just said, hey, can we have, because they had the mic, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
They
yeah.
would talk over the videos or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's just like, hey, can we have the mic? Did a rap thing, felt like a superstar, and it was like, And then
But
I think the next
went,
thing.
you went to it. They didn't just say, "Yo, it."
Oh no! It was like me.
That's why I
went
asked
up and
that.
asked. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they didn't have a clue that we rapped. It was me and 3 other guys. And then after that, it was like a variety show, is what they called it. It was like our school
like
auditorium
talent shows.
So people would dance. Some people would, bands, a lot of bands and stuff. And yeah, we did the rap thing. And
What
that's
were
where
you
we shot the Changes videos in the auditorium.
Ah, I like how that comes back around.
Boom.
What were you rapping about then? Being a family man.
No.
Going
no.
through changes.
I used to rap
It's
about
the same
guns
shit.
and shit. I used to rap about shooting people and straight up. I'll be honest. Like I was, 14, 15 years old
With rifles?
with rifles. I didn't have a rifle, but like listening to Snoop Dogg, Gangster, whatever it was. You know what I mean? 90s hip hop. It was like, yo, I'm hired. I'm from the streets. This is what I do. I didn't know any different. I was like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And that's how we got into all rap. And it was a lot of like, I'm a better rapper than you, and blah 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 blah. But it was when I met Joe Run. I remember we played him our demo. It was like 4 of us from Hants East, which is like a half hour.
Who
from
are these
Halifax.
people? Who are these people?
Scott Brown, Matt McDougall, AJ White, and me. Yeah. So it was 4 of us. We saw Joe Run's picture in the Chronicle Herald or some shit, and it was like, oh, this guy does hip hop beats, blah blah blah. We saw it. We're like, yeah, let's just call this guy. We called him up. And he's like, yeah, he sold us like 3 beats for $60 or something, like something ridiculous. That was like, but even being in grade 10, spending $60 on beats was still like
a
a
lot of
lot
money.
Joe sold you that beats?
Yeah.
Kill it.
And then
That's the
we
headline.
only
Joe
ended up
Run
doing
3 for
one
60?
with this group. We
Joe,
actually
can
only
we
ended
get
up doing
some
one. But yeah, we hitchhiked into Halifax from out there, and we went to Joe's place, and
At the Khyber?
No, this
It
was
was
at his place up on Brunswick. And like he had records everywhere, and like you gotta understand, like we're from Hants East.
You're from the
There's
country.
There's no DJs. There's nobody knows anything about hip hop. Like it's just, you know what I mean? We heard rap tracks and then slowly learned a couple other things. One of our buddies moved out from the city, introduced us to like the Beat Nuts and more EPMD underground shit. That, like a regular country town wouldn't get. But then, I remember playing Joe our stuff, and he heard it, and he's like, "Do you guys really have guns and stuff?" I'm like, "No, he's like, you should rap about what you do," and like that's kind of where it all started. Was like, okay,
Shout out to Joe Run.
straight up, like he was the one that was like, rap about what you do, what you know.
Yeah. So that's exactly what what a good lesson. What a good lesson.
Joe Run.
So at that
Many
time,
good lessons.
At that time, were you like actively like reaching out to Joe Run in an effort to like become rappers? Like this was like your research, like this is pre-internet.
Yeah. This
right?
was like 15, 16. All you know is like hip club group.
Right.
You heard that.
Yeah. But so you
Get the
guys are
Rich.
like, I don't know what to do, but we got to move this thing forward.
It's just like,
we got to
how we do
contact
anything?
somebody.
So we called Joe. He invited us in. We did our song, whatever.
Yeah.
And from there, me and Matt McDougall started our own group. And Joe had a big show, 1995, May 12th at Cafe Olay. And I remember Joe said me and Duff Boy, his name was Matt, could close the show or whatever. So that was like our first introduction to like Nathan the Alien, who was Roughneck there, Nathan C. Check Love, Hip Club Groove, 6'2", Tachichi, Little T.
Right.
That was the night he got up, right?
all
Was
them
that Little
guys.
T's
it was the same
freestyle,
night.
like
That was
the
the same night.
famous
That night he got
that
up and did
recording?
that freestyle was like our first show. We played at Cafe LA once, I had like a rock show with some friends. But like that was our introduction to like, wow, this is what hip hop is. Like we had no idea. People like jumping, doing that, like, you know what I mean? Like it just didn't happen in our world. And it was like, that was the eye opener.
Wow. That was glad I asked you that question. What's your, I kind of know this one, but I'm going to ask you, like first OG local like cosign that where someone said like, you're good. You can do it. I kind of feel like Joe in a weird way by even letting you guys in the door.
I always
but
felt like Joe wasn't really like to be 100. Like Joe wasn't like loving my shit, because Joe would do shit with people that he would be like,
right,
yo, I like this guy. Let me do beats for him. I was always that kid like, yo, man, let me pay you for this shit.
I bet if you asked him, he'd
know
tell
what I
you
mean?
liked it.
No, I think
I
think he liked the originality to it.
Yeah.
Or just the different.
I just don't
what
think
it
he'd
was.
fuck with it if he didn't like it. Like
Well,
didn't
me and
like
Joe
it at
got
all.
along good. Like, he was cool. I don't think he hated it, but he wasn't thinking this is going to be like,
right,
this is the shit I want to get
Okay,
behind.
yeah,
It was just like, oh yeah, class is dope. Yeah, this is what I charge for beats. Cool.
Right.
But like I remember the first time was playing at like a freestyle. Like the first time I felt like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was Nathan C. at Cafe Mocha And I just got out and freestyled with him at some show and a couple people. And it was just when I first moved to Halifax, so I didn't really know anyone. And he was just like, yo, man, that was dope. And that was kind of like the first time I felt like, okay, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many albums have you put out?
74. No, I don't know.
A lot. Like,
lot.
what, 15?
More
Yeah,
than
like
that.
17 or 18
It's
maybe.
like it's like
Yeah.
17.
Depends what you call an album. It's just like a bunch of different things.
That's true.
243 songs.
243 songs.
I'm just guessing, but I'd say that's a
But I
good
think that's a
guess
good way to
why
measure
where it's
it.
at. Totally.
Because people measure it that way now. It'd be like, with this folder on my phone or on my computer, you know, I have my classified music.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, like, how many of those are there? That's all they really, you know, a lot of
how many
times. What's in the
songs?
folder?
No, I should probably actually count those.
So
Yeah, it's a
earlier
good
we were
stat
talking
to
about
know.
where you were from a little bit, and I just wanted to ask you some quick questions about that. Now, are you actually from Milford Station?
No,
No.
that's where my school was.
Wikipedia. Okay, good. That helps.
Yeah, high school.
So that's why you don't know about Wick Wires. I understand.
What's Wickwires?
Wick
You guys
Wires
got it?
was the original name of Milford Station.
Oh,
And
no.
just wondered if you knew about that. I've also, when researching you, I realized that,
Give me
like, you
some
know,
of that classic stats
it's not, no.
or facts.
It also has an abundance of dairy cattle there, a 2-to-1 population of that of people. Can you vouch for that?
Milford? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
like,
also,
we had to drive through that every day to get to our school. It was like a 25-minute drive.
right.
And our school was in Milford, which is all farms.
Mm.
So it smelled like manure all the time, but
And-
you just get used to it.
And it's also home to the largest open pit mine, gypsum mine in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. Big old gypsum mine. Huh?
Big old, well,
Yeah.
biggest in the world.
Is
There's
it
a-
really the biggest in the world?
That's what they say. But they also said that you were from here, so
Yeah.
you can't trust the fake media.
A lot of
Sorry,
liars in
Donald.
Milford.
Sorry, Donald.
Yeah.
There's a lot of references to Luke everywhere, you know, and so that didn't lead me anywhere. As I tried to find more about you, it was very difficult to really dig into that. Like, it's just like you basically wrote the Bible or something like that is what I've put together.
Oh, when you put Luke?
Yeah, you know, I wasn't getting much. So I wanted to jump something that, just before we get into the album, that you wrote recently. And it's something you put out as a statement. And this is something in the research that kind of really popped to me, but something you just did very, very recently. And you said, to quote you, I want to produce some dope, not trying
This
to
is
follow
like-
the trends in hip hop for someone where the Hungry MCs on the East Coast. And don't post your friends' music if they can't post their own shit.
Yeah, I
don't
missed
wanna
a
hear
couple
it.
letters
So-
in that post too. I remember just sitting there writing like, I want to just make some hip hop shit today. And I remember writing, and then there was like 2 or 3 people, because I went through it and checked everybody's links and was checking out some different music.
I'm under the complete misconception then that you're being like flooded constantly with people trying to get you to do that with them.
I do, but it's just easier to do it like that and get it all in one spot rather than going to look for a bunch of shit. But people don't send me stuff.
People don't
like-
hit you up all the time?
No, they do. Like but it's not like I get 200 things in 3
Right.
days, which I got on
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It'll be like, okay, 2 today,
right.
3 or 4 the next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like random. But
Right.
this was just kind of an easy way to be like, hey, if you're doing some shit. And me and Jim actually a buddy of mine sat there and listened to like a lot of them today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you,
So
what's
it's
come
good,
from?
there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that sounds like me when I was 15, and it's weird.
It must be very strange because in those people that you like sound like you when you're 15, that you're probably hearing stuff where you're like, oof, like
That's what I mean.
What are you doing?
Straight
but
up.
also you'd hear
That-
if
but
they're you, you're
kinda-
hearing talent
exactly.
too.
No, I wasn't hearing it from a talent point of view. I was hearing it as like, oh fuck, this guy's 15 and I love hip hop.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Which was exactly what I was.
Yeah.
But when I hear it now, and I'm like, man, it's weird.
Yeah. But
know
things
what
have, as you say in the album, where things have changed.
Things have changed.
Let's move right to that. Like, I want to ask you a question about it. So it's called Tomorrow Could Be, and right? Is that correct? ...
Right. Yeah. ...
And the full album comes out like June 22nd or something like that.
Yeah.
Is the full album
29th.
2 pieces, like 2 EPs?
The EP comes out June 29th.
Okay.
And then there's something else coming.
There's something else coming.
We can edit.
Their continue part, I don't even care really. Maybe we should just talk about it. There's another EP coming.
I somehow knew that there was 2 parts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how I
think
know
I
that.
even talked about it like a Facebook thing or something, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, that was the whole thing, was to drop 1 EP. You know what I mean? 6 songs, and then boom,
Something else.
4 or 5 weeks later, start dropping something from the second one.
I see.
So it's 12 songs, but we're just trying to stretch it out. Like, just I find albums come and go so quick now. Like,
Right.
as soon as you get albums out on streaming world, it's there. You know, a month after, it's hard to get behind another song and push it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask you like why
stretching it out, man. Trying
why
to
a
change
2
the game.
EP album, but I was gonna ask you why even an album. Like, I find it that's an interesting.
Because
take.
and I was thinking that too. Like originally we were like, let's just drop songs. You know what I mean? We got this, boom, let's drop it. Push it for a month or
Right.
two. If it takes off, we keep pushing.
That's
if
what
not,
everybody's doing and saying.
move on to the next one. But I've realized like real fans want to have, and even myself, like I like to have, you know, some kind of
Body of work.
totally like something hard, even like to be. So the whole plan is to release all 12 songs on the album, which is the 2 EPs split up, and the 2
Right.
titles make sense
Right.
together. So it's really one album
Right.
that you'll get in, you know, October when the
Right.
tour starts.
Right.
But we started dropping stuff in February, so it's like we just dragged that out.
But it's the genius way of laying it out. Because
Might be, it
you're
might
gonna
kill
be
the
a-
game too. People might
Yeah,
want,
but
you know,
It
what I
all
mean? It's
depends, that
50-50
delicate-
of like some people want to be like, yo, let me get the album, let me take it in.
Yeah.
But you're
I want
giving
it all
them both,
fresh.
though.
No, because they kind of slowly hear it over the year anyway. But
But
I'm
that's
just
It's a
the whole
delicate
thing.
balance with the rollout.
Totally
It's
is.
you got to
Might
find
be
the
a-
right. You
might
can't
be a
stretch them
risk.
too far. They get bored.
Yeah.
You can't do it too quick, or you just lose
But
all
that's
the
the
rollout.
whole thing is that like you're just gonna have a real strong year. You know what I mean? Like the year itself
yeah.
is gonna be
Exactly.
strong, and then you know the follow from the year.
But you do miss that thing of like, this Friday the new album comes out, I get to hear all this new music.
Sure.
That's what I'm a little bit scared of, but I'm like, well, I did it 17 times this way. Let me try one time like this and just see what happens.
I think 6 is a good hit. Like in that way of I'm waiting for a date, boom, I got my little hit as this like music fiend that wants your stuff.
Yeah.
Then I think 6 is a good bump. It's not like you gave him 1. It's not like, ugh, that wasn't enough.
Yeah,
it's enough
get a
that's something to
couple there's
digest.
some- you know, there's 25 minutes of music.
I
there,
can't see
and then get another
you-
25 and a couple months later.
I can't see you embracing like a single after single after single kind of attitude with the way you describe how you get focused on things. I don't know how you'd have like one thought that isolated that would fulfill enough of that obsession with the topic.
Yeah.
Like this holds together very well as as 6 songs from what like I've heard it, and I really appreciate getting the chance to hear it. It really works, but I don't think that the way you're talking, you get obsessed, and obsessed would have to be so microscopic and then out and then like
Yeah.
something new. Like I feel like you need
but
to
the
make
way I
albums to
made
hold it
these
together.
songs, a lot of these songs, I made it thinking like, I'm just gonna make this song. This isn't part of an album.
Okay.
So, but it wasn't saying at the same time. It wasn't like it's like this got to be a single, this got to be a single,
Right.
this got to be a single. It was just like, let me have this concept, let me go with this.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Next song, this is what it is. But when I split the 12 songs up to 2 EPs,
Felt right.
it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt right.
You take it like right back. Like I feel like it immediately. It's almost harkens back all the stuff we were just talking about. Wrapped up really quick with like the referencing like to talking about two turntables and like. But there's also like a heavy sort of rock sound to it as well.
Yeah, it's just like.
But it feels like a rush of almost like a whole bunch of influences at once. But like almost, I don't know, like almost like setting the pace of like I've done a lot of stuff. It's a great intro track to me. It's like,
That's dope.
yo, I've been doing things, man, and like listen to this sound. This is someone who's been through all this, real, and it's like referencing like I should go back to this. You talk about things like Biggie and Michael are your idols, true? Mm-hmm. You wrote it, so. And you say fuck fame. So what is it?
Fuck
like,
fame, it killed my idols,
Yeah.
Biggie and Michael.
Yeah.
I just think people get caught up in fame.
Just
Makes
a line
people
that
go
jumped out to
crazy.
me.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like that line. Like that just always stood out to my mind. I think somebody said that to me one time. Fuck fame, it killed my idols. I had the Biggie and Michael thing on.
Yeah.
But it just really stood out to me of like just how fame can get in people's heads and makes you think a certain way, takes things a certain way, can't operate
Yeah.
in everyday life. You know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot of people like, and not like they completely go crazy and kill someone, but they just,
Right.
you
Just-
can tell
they
they're very
disconnect.
uncomfortable and they can't, you know,
Pass me that lighter, Ivy.
they can't enjoy themselves.
Does that happen? Have you felt that happen? Like, I mean, you're.
Small things, but nothing like
I've never
crazy.
experienced
But
the
like
fame
I'm not
you
like,
have. So,
yeah.
do you ever feel like gassed up where it's like, whoa, I'm way up on this fame thing. I gotta watch myself or something like that, or
No, we knock them down.
Yeah. What you mean, like get cocky about it?
no, just like that where you're like, whoa, I'm starting to, this could take me in weird places. Like feeling the drug of fame rushing, where it's like, ooh, I could see how this could take me in places where it gets you in,
No.
gets you killed or gets you into crazy places. No.
No, nothing like that. Nothing where I felt like, oh shit, where's this going?
Okay, who's the Dark Lord then in your lovely Star Wars analogy in the song about Luke versus the Dark Lord?
The Dark Lord, Star Wars. The Dark. What did I say?
I think he said this Luke
Star
against
Wars.
the Dark Lord like
I
Star
gotta remember
Wars.
the line before it now, so I can understand why I said it.
So I'm just giving you the references. You gotta go dig it.
Yeah.
You gotta have it on deck for this tour, right? You gotta have it ready.
Oh, he'll have it down.
Oh,
Believe
of course
that.
he will.
Yeah, I gotta remember.
Believe
that.
That was a great line. I like that one too. And then basically what I want to talk to finish thing, last thing I want to talk to with that is you mentioned that people are asking for this in the damn right, like that sound of sort of like, or that's what I take
the
it
boom
at.
bap shit?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
you
that's me
say it
just-
that like
that's me
they
trying
want
to tell
this.
them
They
they
want
should
this.
want this.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I do think, like
'Cause
we
you're
had
kinda
this
right.
conversation the other day, I think there's a huge world for, and we were kind of talking about it being like 28 to 40-year-olds that kind of grew up on this sound of hip-hop that was like,
Agreed.
they still listen to hip-hop. They still want to hear. They want to hear someone that grew with them, not necessarily saying the same shit that you heard back then.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's the foundation or like something that brings you back to that mood. So
Yeah.
no, I think we say it all the time. It's like, oh, it's coming back, bud. It's coming back.
Come back around.
And it always makes a little peak here and
Yeah,
there. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But I'd love to see it come back to, you know, what it was at one time. Not necessarily doing the same shit, but just, you know.
I think
just-
it'll be
just
very-
some dirty drums, some
Still
dirty
do
boom
good.
bap drums.
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I
Still
mean?
do good in Europe and Australia though. That's you know what I mean. That intro song, like
Yeah.
that's gonna kill over there. Oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna kill. That'll be on radio.
Oh, it could be quite easily. Well, I
It's
think
like when we went to Australia, they picked the street single instead of the.
Yeah, they were
radio
pushing
singer.
more of the
really
harder edge shit. It was almost like they were like 10 years behind, which was cool.
same with Europe, from what I've heard. Not behind, but like they have
That's
a
what I said,
they have a
man.
reverence
They're
for
gonna
like
do,
a
that
time
song's
that
gonna do good in Europe.
North
and
America's kind of
Australia.
moved by or something.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
it's still fresh to them there, which is the sound I love. So it's like,
It'll be
That's cool.
interesting when hip hop finally has like kind of the same. I mean, it has it, but people can be big fans of like the parts of the genre without having to have a big discussion about all the other ones all the time. Like in rock, you can be into a part of rock. Like I mean, there are these classic rock. I mean, really hard or whatever. Like that's fine. And everybody can be like, cool, that's what you like. Little differences, but I find there's always this battle in hip hop of like the supremacy of one type. And it just leads to this like unnecessary thing where I'm like, man, make music, and people will listen to it, and it'll play out like that way. Like they don't always that argument of like old school, new school, and boom bap, trap. Like
yeah,
and they're
then there's
not
but
opposites.
I get what you're saying.
They're not
like,
opposites.
Make what you make, but at the same time, it's like a certain type of media, not a certain type, but there's the people who push it, who
Yeah.
get the biggest outlets, who get to kind of dictate what most people are listening to.
True.
You know, not to say you don't have options, but I'm saying that have the most viewers, the most listeners,
sure.
the big stations. And when it is all one certain sound, it is what it is. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, you got to do this, but it's harder to, not harder, but it's just more, it's more of a disconnect to it. Than, you know what I mean? You're not in the same world. You're not making the same type of music, really. Like, I really find it's two different genres completely.
That's sort of what
Production-wise.
That's sort of what I mean. Like, let's let it separate where we can both like you can
Just
sort
let
of
it be two different
see it
things.
as two things and be like,
Yeah, I
cool.
don't think what I was saying there made much sense.
No, it did. That's the thing I wrestle with. I just find it always gets pitched as like one versus the other instead of both being like able to just both live and in different lanes, and that's fine. Like they don't have to overlap. I just
IVs
don't
get
really
me
call
too
that
high
like
over
hip
here.
hop that much.
What?
IVs get me too high
Are
over
you
here.
getting the?
Let's
primo
move to
today, baby.
let's move to a track called Changes, and this one's out. People have heard this one. The very first question is, Angeli, the woman who sings the
Angeli?
hook,
Yeah.
Angeli, who is that? Like that voice is absolutely incredible.
She's from
How did you guys-
Toronto originally. We met her like 5 or 6 years ago on a tour. We always kind of stayed in connection. And I sent her a beat about a year ago that she wrote something to for the album. We didn't end up using that, but then she sent me her playing the piano and singing that. Actually, it was a whole song. I just kind of took certain parts where I was like, I like this and I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that, and
yeah.
kind of built it around that. But it was just her sitting in her living room playing piano. Shadow swimming in my head. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh,
I don't
okay, I'll use this.
mind.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah. And I went back, like, you know, she basically gave me the piano and her vocal. And then 6 months later, I went back with, like, the full track and was like, this is kind of where it's at.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this song in some ways is pretty self-explanatory about a
Very.
person going through changes.
No
there's-
hidden messages.
No, there's some stuff there though that sticks out that I want to like because you are a lyricist that every word really matters a lot with you, and not that it doesn't with other people, I guess, but I always think about that with you. Like he really is every the and is like important to him. Talking about the story about like not stepping out the house in 7 days and having shaved and all this stuff. Can you work yourself start in a good place and work yourself into like a bad place by not like lifting your head up from the computer kind of thing?
What do you mean?
like go into the studio or lab, be like, yeah, like on a good vibe, like yeah, and then sort of
And then
wake
slowly
up
lose
like a
it
week
and-
later from that and be like, holy fuck, like I've been outside and I'm sort of now in a not so great place, like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
depressed, but just kind
No,
of
it's just,
lost your center, like that focused on things. Because that's what
Totally.
I took out of that line.
Totally.
I
Just
pictured
getting
you
caught
being in the
up
lab
and
during that time.
going, just going of like change this, do this, go back. Okay, that doesn't work. Run in the house, get a glass of water, but just back out. Hey, hi kids. See ya. Be back in a couple hours. And just like you said, just not even there. Just so into like, let me get this done. Because like even on this album, I found like usually I'll work on a song and I'll just stay on that song for like 3 or 4 weeks and just work on that song. With this one, I was kind of like, cool, let me get the beat, the verses down of this song. Try some hook stuff, but just kind of leave it, go work on another one. And it was more bouncing back and forth, which I found was like, that's really what kind of kept me in that mind state of just hard to focus on one thing and going everywhere. And then, like you said, kind of just being like, whoa, step back from it all and go, okay, let me just go outside. Let me go away for a couple days and come back and then see what you made.
Yeah,
Which is usually a bunch of madness.
Yeah, I find that sometimes like the comforts of home can be too comfortable in a way that like you stay there for a while and it's like you lose that sort of rudder of like other people and like get too into your own thoughts where it's like I need somebody to talk about themselves for a minute.
Totally.
Or like
and
just
not,
break.
just not even being on tour. Like usually we're on the road even when I'm working on albums and I'm working on something, but then every 2 or 3 weeks we go away and do a show here and there. Come back, I'm with the guys for 3 days, kind of get away from the music, you come back, you start again. With this one, our last show was what, September of last year?
Yeah.
Like we haven't done a show in
We're
like
playing
8
mega.
months.
Wow.
Like I've did a couple of acoustic ones with David Miles, but like a real with the crew for a couple of days. And even before that, it was only like a couple shows, and we barely played it all last year. A couple festivals, but you know, I think we might have did 10 shows last year, if that.
Do you think we'd have this project if that hadn't been the pace you've had over the last while? Do you think it'd be
what?
Like you did a different thing with this. You broke it into 2 pieces. You're talking about changes. You're talking about a lot of things. Like I'm gonna get to Powerless in a minute, which is a huge song to me, to a lot of people. Do you think if you'd had the same kind of playing schedule and touring schedule, like if you didn't have that window there, that we'd have this project? Because it seems like you probably would have done it.
Maybe like something similar to it, but I don't know.
It just seems like that space was perfect for something different. You know,
Yeah,
because
and that was the whole thing. Like Grateful was kind of supposed to be I was even gonna call this album Luke Boyd. Like make it like Classified, Grateful. That was it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then it was just like, it's still Classified shit. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to make it seem like this is like, what was it when Garth Brooks turned into that person?
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
I didn't want to make it some corny like, let me make this seem it's deeper than, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not trying to have no hidden thing. But like it kind of felt like this was the start of something new, this album. Right. In a weird way, even though it kind of feels, you know, a lot of the lyrics might feel like it's kind of the end too.
Yeah.
I'm a confused individual.
No, you sound like someone going through changes.
Going
Yeah,
through
it's
changes,
good.
right.
I really like the line about the daughter, like what you could do now can change the future. I think like that one hit me, like talking about lines that are just like as a parent of a young kid and just of any kid, I guess.
Man, like
just like the
what
influence.
Parents do, I think, that's exactly how you mold children or whatever. Like, it's crazy that like the littlest thing could make the world of a difference. That's like, oh shit, I wasn't gonna do that day, but
yeah. Do you think
father-daughter talk?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's break to a segment we like to call father-daughter talk. Yeah, exactly. You have a line in there about Snoop smokes, so that's why you did, or something to that effect. And how much do you think you should hold like musicians accountable for what they say? When someone says, "Yeah, they did it. That's why I did it." Like,
I don't know if like even when I said that in that, as much as I do, like I don't know if that's the number one reason, but I remember that being something, like being a blatant kid, being like, "Man, look at Snoop smoking weed, like
Hell
zigzag smoke." Like,
Hell yeah.
That was like, you know, it's definitely influential on kids. Yeah.
people listen to that early Classified out there banging guns saying,
yeah, you won't find the tape of that.
I remember my friends rolling up saying that exact line. While they're licking their paper, all about the zigzag.
The zigzag smoke. When I heard Doggy Style, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, it took me years later. Like, you know what I mean? I was 14, 15. I wasn't like a kid that smoked weed when he was like that age. So I would just be rapping a line, no idea what the fuck he's talking about. And then I heard it years later and going, the zig. Oh my God. Like, no idea.
That guy's a genius.
Yeah. So dope.
You said the music's still so important, but it's not as rewarding. Yeah.
It's different. Well, yeah, it definitely isn't. Everything's been done. Like, we did it all. Not to sound like a dick.
No, that's
you know what I
awesome.
mean? But, like, totally. And it's not a...
That's awesome.
It's not like something where I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? But it's like the first time we did the Junos, the first time we did the MMVAs, the first tour bus we ever had. Like, you can't redo that. Like,
No.
that's... Of course it's not as
First
rewarding.
time on a private jet.
First time on a private jet. You know what I mean?
When was the first time you were on a private jet?
We went to the Junos.
We went to the Junos. Yeah, we hosted the Junos, but we were on tour.
Yo, talk to me about this private jet, though.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What was it like?
Mike Boyd passed out with like 72 cheeseburgers on him. It was like a private jet, but it looked like a minivan. Like it was a jet, but when you got in this thing, it felt like you were in a fucking minivan.
It was tiny.
We had me, my mom, and my wife.
I got a picture.
Mike, my manager.
I'll flash it up
Ivy,
right
and
here. I got a
Elijah.
picture.
Okay.
Bling.
Right there?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Damn. When's the last time you were on a private plane?
That was
That
first
was
and last. I don't do private planes, man.
Edit that part out.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll upgrade to the plus seat. You know.
That's behind the
Right?
Patreon wall. That answer. I really find in this song, and it's a trend on this project, maybe in more of your music than I even think about, but you talk about it in changes like you created this fan base. The way I read it, you created this fan base that believes in you, that listens to you, that looks up to you, that likes what you're doing, loves your craft and all this, and they've now become an entity that like lives on their own without you hyping them up to do it anymore. Not like, yo, believe in me, put your hand. They're already doing it. So much so that they're like now convincing you back. That I love that,
dope.
and I feel like it's where I want to commend you on the writing where you step outside of you so much and still sort of like keep it very real about who you are. Like it seems like this third camera angle of like not them, not me and you, but like out here. Like what's Luke like? What's Class like out here? Like if
I never thought about that.
It
Like,
really feels
that's-
that like a twist. It's like the first things are very much about you, like very in the kitchen, literally like in the room. But that one's this bigger one about the reality of who you are and this other group. And like that's a perspective that I think is dope. Like to have that kind of level of understanding of like I'm kind of caught in this relationship with them too. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good, but it drives both ways. What's it like to
think
have that
that's
kind
like-
of? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, like I don't know, it's just, you know, when people send you those messages of like, you know, going back to what you were saying, like, you know, now the fans believe me maybe more than I do.
Right.
It's like I get those moments, like not to sound cheesy or whatever, but when it's like I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, going in the studio, things don't feel right, and you're on your Facebook, whatever it is, and it's like, you know, you get the random ones of like, oh man, been listening since All About You, and love your shit, and it's like cool, you know, and then you get some ones that is like, yo man, my wife just left me, blah, you know, gets on some really deep shit, and it's like, yo, I played your song, you know, it kind of brought me back, and you read that, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, this means more to some people than it does to me sometimes. You know what I mean? And I kind of think that's what I just started kind of realizing.
It's like real life stand moments. Like you
Totally.
really are experiencing that
Yeah.
that stuff. Like on positive.
Totally.
level.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Does that ever feel like limiting that they want you to be the same person so that you'll be there for them? Like you don't change
No.
too much? Like,
No.
you know what I mean?
Maybe that's ignorant on my part, but
No, I just wondered if you ever thought about it like that.
no.
Like, do you ever feel a pressure to be, you know, like I can't see.
Give me an example.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe
if you
I'm
came out
reading
with
it
a
wrong.
really dark album that was just dark and never came back up for air, like was really fucking dark.
I
Like,
wouldn't want to do it like.
but that's not you. Just do that. That's what I
mean,
was
like,
thinking
I'm-
as I was thinking
like
about
if
the
I
question.
did that, that would be me trying to be like something else.
Right. That,
Like-
as I was about to ask, I'm like, but that's not who he seems to
No,
be.
but
as a
I
dude.
had
It's
times
not
when
to
I'm
put that out,
like, because I write some singing songs, shit, like some of Elijah's shit. Like I'll make beats, I write songs.
Right.
I can't sing worse, you know what I mean? But I will sit there in the studio by myself, write it, sing it, record it, auto-tune the shit out of it, make it sound the best I can, show whoever it is, and be like, you know. And I've always thought it'd be cool to try something like that, like
Yeah.
just something different. And maybe I will sometime, but I never get that excited about it where I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
As much as like I make a beat, I write something, like I write 8 bars, and I'm just like, oh no, this is where it is. This is like, I'm just still more excited to make the type of music I'm making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
I mean, you don't make no dark stuff. You're always.
I don't like, you know, ups,
No, I was
ups
just
and
trying to
downs.
think of
I've had like
something
tracks,
different.
you know, where
Super
like even
different.
changes is kind of dark, you know what I mean, in a different way, but but nothing that's like murder 3 a.m. take your mother.
Go
Like,
in.
that's
Go
just
in.
not,
No
that's not my,
villainous.
you know what
Go
I mean?
in.
And don't get me wrong, like me, the boys, whatever, we'll joke around and we'll do that shit on Friday night over
freestyles
beats,
all
and
day.
you know, that's just what we do for fun. But I could never feel, I couldn't put that out in 3 years here and be like, oh yeah, we did that. Like that, to me, that's shit that I want to hear that night. Maybe the next day as a kind of laughing, but
Yeah.
if it's not like serious, it's not something I want to hear a couple years from now.
I
Like if it's not serious,
No.
not me. You know what I mean? Like not
oh yeah, where you're
It's
playing a
gotta be
you're
me.
playing a character, then like
Exactly.
and you know it. So you
totally,
lean heavy into
and we've
it,
thought
right?
about that. Like we've had times where we're talking about creating this fake group, like
Yeah.
and we still might call it Enfield. It's me and Mike are kind of like, you know, running it, but then we got IV, Elijah,
Shit, yeah.
Kid, and like just different guests coming in, almost like Brand Band 3000. Remember that? It's like you didn't really know who it was.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just made dope music and kind of
Drinking in LA.
make it exactly, but just kind of make your own thing and don't have it be a classified thing because it's obviously not
Yeah,
a
yeah,
classified
yeah.
record. It's just something we do for fun.
For some reason, as you're doing this, I just keep thinking of Dr. Octagon. And I'm like,
Kind of like that, yeah.
because kinda. Those
But
guys all
Dr.
took-
Octagon
I mean,
is
it's
still more just him.
cool, Keith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just him being somebody.
But that
else.
idea though about
This is
more
of like a
characters,
group thing.
handsome boy modeling school.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly,
I want to
exactly.
move on to another track that I really like. Man, this thing is great. I believe the next one is she ain't gotta do much.
She ain't got to do much.
Yeah. My notes on this song that I want to hit you with are it's a grown and sexy song. I
grown
love
and
this
sexy
song. I
song.
feel like in hip hop, there's not enough songs. There's very few songs I can think of that are really about a passionate, fiery, long-term relationship.
Yeah, it's hard.
That aren't
hard.
like that doesn't play totally into like it's super hard. It's more like this is like it's so upbeat and dope. Like I love it. As
That's like
as
the
a man who's
single
been
we
with his
just
wife,
dropped in this
15
week,
years,
so,
like
yeah.
it's a song where I'm like that nails a really kind of everyday understanding of like I love it. There's so many dope lines in there. They're just so
Thank you,
it's
man.
really well written and really
the
like
jam.
mature to me. While like not leaving anything behind in terms of like being as added about sex as a younger song but those ones would just be like I want to fuck it or whatever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's dope. I like that too. But like this has just got an edge that's like keeps it. It's just dope, man. It's a good track.
Thank you, man. It's funny because like
yeah,
that
talk to
track
me
when I
about it.
made that track, that was supposed to be just something for the album. Like that was like, okay, this is a cool little track. This is like an album
Really?
track. And then I showed, like whenever I finish my albums, I'll kind of have an idea what singles I want to go to radio with, what song I want to drop first to kind of just set it up. But we were supposed to send 4 songs. My manager, me, and a couple other guys picked out like the 4 songs we wanted to send to radio. Let them pick which one they think they can push best to radio. Because that's all it is like another marketing tool to like, let's get this out, let people know there's music out. So we had our 4 songs. Last minute, I was like, let me just send She Ain't Gotta Do Much as like a 5th one. And they came back and they were like, that's the radio song. Like, that's the one. Which we were all kind of like, what?
That's 100%.
But then we kind of reproduced it a little bit since that original version. Once I found it was the one, I kind of just added a little bit of horns, added a little bit of extra stuff. But now I hear it and it's like, okay, it's dope. I like it as being like a hip hop track, but being the radio single, but it's still on like a dirty, grimy kind of beat.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool.
It also kind of works if you don't think of the other person being a person and think of them as being hip hop. It kind of works in a weird way that way too. If you listen to it that way, almost everything you say
there's
works
so
that way.
many songs like that.
But it does work
it's
that
funny.
way.
I'm gonna go home
Like
and
somebody,
listen to it now.
I think it mostly works that way. Like it's
That's funny. You're right.
maybe if you can do like Common does and sort of like make a person out of hip hop. But someone who like
Yeah, he
didn't
had
know
the-
you or anything doesn't need to know that to like be like, oh, this is a song about how I feel about hip hop too.
Yeah.
Like, she ain't gotta do much. I just need a little bit. And all
Was
this,
it
like,
Danny?
da-da-da. Yeah.
Danny Ho had Dear Hip Hop. Remember that? What was it, Common? I used to love her.
Yeah. There's a few of them.
Yeah.
Daniel?
Maybe I should just start telling people. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what it's
hip-hop,
about.
man.
In there, you reference that you work. We work with your wife. She's part of the team here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is that
She's
difficult?
gotta be.
Show support now.
Is that
then.
difficult?
No.
No. And my other question was, is that Elijah on
She's
the
just.
hook?
Yeah.
Or at least on one track on the hook. There's like
Yeah, yeah.
a bunch of people in there, but
Elijah.
I hear Elijah come right through.
That's him.
Why don't you hear his voice a couple times? I want to talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
Because of that, like, we'll talk about him. Who is Elijah? Like, he's an amazing voice. Like, I heard him
he's a
in there. Was
singer.
like, that's Elijah, because
His
I've
voice
heard his
is
voice like once before,
angelic.
or not once, but like a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like it pops out of the song if you know his voice. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I first heard him, found out about his music was someone was playing me a song, showing me somebody else in a song, showing me a rapper. I was like, okay, cool, whatever there. And then the chorus came in. I was like, well, who's this kid? She's like, oh, this is the kid Elijah. He lives in Elmsdale, which is literally 3 minutes from my house. I was like, what, in Elmsdale? Which blew my mind, because it's just, you know what I mean, the way he sounded, it didn't sound like some East Coast singer or like something you would hear from here. So his voice just stood out right away. He came over. We've been doing music off and on for like, 3 or 4 years now, probably. But yeah, we signed him to Half-Life, produced his album, put it out. He's been touring with us for a couple years, and just like a new artist trying to get his thing going.
And he just got picked for the finalists of the Music Nova Scotia Artist in Residency thing at the casino.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good
Top
look.
5.
Good luck. Nice.
Elijah Will.
Good luck. Go check him out, everyone.
The voice is amazing.
Yes. And go check out, like, I can't wait till people can hear that song. Go. It's on the radio, right?
What song?
The one, She Ain't Gotta Do Much.
So, no.
The biggest track, like the first, I believe it was the first one released, was Powerless, right?
Yeah.
That's one track that, like, kind of immediately makes me think of, like, one that would break an album mold, like, would stand alone as a thing easily, like.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's funny. I talked
Just
to my
'cause it's
manager
so-
about that today.
It's so big that it, but why, for people that don't know, like, tell them what that track's about. Broadly.
Quick way is it's about people who feel powerless. People who are in a situation that they really don't have control and feeling powerless because people might know about it or don't know about it, but they don't have no one giving them help.
And of that, you definitely, like, point directly at, like, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Two-Spirit people.
Yeah, like
why?
That's
I guess
the
that's
second verse, and the first verse is about child abuse.
Yeah, and I think the first verse was where you started writing this song in a way. It was like upset about a verdict that you heard. Is that true?
Yeah. It was. That's not where the song started, but that's kind of where the whole, I guess, my part of the story started, was hearing about a rape case in Newfoundland, about this guy's sentencing, and I kind of just mentioned about it. From there, I just started getting a lot of people kind of message me, telling me their stories and stuff. And then there was a story that stood out, like in Enfield, in my neighborhood. So it kind of all started from there. But it's a lot of different people's stories,
right?
Kind of put into that one verse.
What made you take on and address and speak out about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls?
A couple things really. The first thing, I went to a school that was half white, half Native Mi'kmaq. Like, that was kind of, it wasn't even a thing. Like, it almost seems like more of a bigger deal now than what it was when we went to school.
Right.
But I always had a lot of different friends, so we always had like a real life connection. It wasn't just something that was like,
right.
I see this on TV and hear about it. So the more I heard about it as just years going by, and then I actually had Powerless half wrote, and I met this girl downtown, like a Saturday night, just right around the corner from here, really. And she was a Native girl. We were just talking. She knew who I was. She was like a fan, and she was like, you should write a song about missing Native girls, Indigenous girls. And as soon as she said it, because like I said, when I'm writing something, I kind of don't stop thinking. Even though I'm out, I'm still always like Powerless. It's all about Powerless right now. That's what I'm working on. And as soon as she said it, I was like, I think I even told her, I was like, yeah, I am. Like, as soon as she said it, I was like, yeah, I actually got something now that I'm. And then that Monday or Tuesday, I went home and wrote that verse. And even like later, and even to a different thing. Like my grandmother's mother was half Native, which isn't very close. You know what I mean? But my grandmother still had a big connection with it, and I was very close with my grandmother. So there's a lot of different things that why I wrote that verse.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many landmines, like, culturally, to be aware of if, like, you as like a white man is writing that song, and I'm just like super impressed with what I think how well you navigated that territory.
Yeah, and it was nervous. Like I won't lie.
But-
At first, it wasn't. Like I honestly, to myself, like as soon as that girl said it, and I was like, yeah, why not write something about this? Like,
Right.
You know, I have a connection to this in a lot of different ways. I see it. It doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Just being a person that, you know, is growing up and wants to talk about some positive shit. Not even positive shit, because it's not, but try to make a positive difference, I guess.
Right.
It's so hard to talk about things these days because it's like the littlest thing.
And that's what it
Set
was. It was like
anybody
you don't
off,
know
like-
if somebody's gonna get upset. And when I was writing it, like sorry, I kind of got cut off there. I forgot
No,
about
yeah.
I forgot what I was talking about. But Ivy weed.
You're hanging in the cut, man.
But when I first started writing, I thought it was a good thing to be talking about this.
Yeah.
So I would just put my head down. I wrote the song. I remember sitting with my brother. He's kind of always the first person I showed, and he was like, "Kill it!" Like he was. It's like put the song away, kind of left it. We finished the album, and it was the first song that I was like, I want to just drop this.
Right.
You know, nothing for the radio, nothing that's like, you know, oh, another classified record, like something that's going to just make people go, oh.
Yeah.
And just for what it's talking about, like I think it's just an important thing that people should be still talking about more. Like it still blows my mind that, you know, the native thing for one thing, but the child molestation, sentencing, the way all that stuff pans out, and
Right.
like the stories I've heard from so many people, it's like, you know, I knew that happened a bit, but I was never that woke about it. You know what I mean? Like now it's like, wow, this is crazy. Like how many people go through this. No one really talks about it.
What do you think is like? I just want to say that I think that what you're doing is great. Like, I mean, it's the sort of obvious thing to say, but you're taking the platform you have and using that to speak about it, which I think is the only way we're going to address, at least the first step of addressing all of that stuff, is like, you know, people becoming aware. Kind of what you just said.
just
Like the
keeping the
more that you
conversation
became
going,
like,
like
wait a minute, like it bothers us more the more we become aware of it. There's some people that are like asleep to it.
Totally. And I think everybody always kind of hears about it here and there, but like I knew the song's not going to change the world or nothing, but it's just trying to keep the conversation going. We put the video out.
Yeah.
It's all over CBC. It's all over Entertainment Tonight. It's about these certain things, and it's like, boom, that's pretty much all we can ask for is people see this, let them know, talk about it, hopefully keeps the conversation going a little bit longer.
But it will be like a historical piece of like, you know,
Totally. It's
of musical
a timeless
history
thing. It's
or-
been going on for years. It's
you know.
not specific to what's happening now. It's been happening for years. It's
Did you did anyone in like the Native community like did you talk with anyone from that like from there at all before,
I've had
like
a lot
while
of
you
people
were
reach out, but just even people I know from school and stuff, like the guys who drummed for me at the ECMAs, like those were guys I went to school with, and
right.
so it's like, you know, they showed a lot of love. Like I think I had one person email me kind of going like, oh, you're using this for fame and blah blah blah, and it was fame and money. I was like, oh, yeah. Other than that, it was nothing but positive, and you know, people being just, you could really tell they're very appreciative that somebody, like you said, a white man from my world and what I do, it's not really there, actually talking about it. Like, come on, let's someone pay attention and let's talk about it.
And also, I think it's just such a blight on and a black eye on like this country that we claim to be proud of. Like, this is our country, and this is what's going on in it. Like,
Totally.
whack.
And I
no
think
matter who you are, like it's tough to be proud of that. And those are our people. This is everybody that, you know, we should be like treating people well, and it's nasty. And like, so
there's some
anyone
spots,
that ever
like,
questions that relationship to it, I always think like this is like where the people that live with me. These are my neighbors. This is my fellow humans. Like, I'm not supposed to care about that, like, because of some bullshit reason. What the fuck? But I mean, I was wanting to say about like people that one criticism saying, you know, for fame and fortune. I think that's the other thing I think is so great about this song is like it's the opposite of that. It's not the track that like it actually might be one that becomes super popular, but
Which
it's
I
not
hope,
one
for the
that
message,
the
but
subject
I'm
matter.
not-
But the subject matter is like the total opposite. Like it's not the like, yo, this is my fly hip hop track I'm gonna write that's gonna blow up in the clubs. It's like, but it's so important. And
This
so
is
I think I
something that
also
just hope
kudos
gets
for that
passed
for saying
around.
like
this is not something that, like, I don't know if people understand the music game. You don't make money off of songs no more. Like, that's not where you make money. So it's not like something that I'm putting out and I'm going, oh, I hope I sell 1 million copies of this. Like, that's just not what it is. Like, it's all I'm hoping, you know, is that this just gets passed around.
Yeah.
People watch and go, whoa, Anybody see this? And that's what it is. Like I dropped it a couple months ago now, but every other day I still get a message of like, man, I just saw this video. Wow, thank you for speaking on this. I went through this.
Who shot that video?
Andy Hines.
Andy Hines.
Right. That video is, I mean, it's amazing.
IV hooked that up.
It's such
That's
a like.
IV's for.
My man, Andy Hines.
It's such a like standalone piece too. Like, just because
Totally.
like the way it works, like it is like a movie kind of thing. It's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, he did an amazing
I mean,
job.
he's an amazing filmmaker. I also really, you see amazed the performance you had there. Like, I really, really appreciated the way you worked that, the way you did everything. I don't know how, like, I'm assuming all of it was a very conscious move, but once you got the song going and then everybody was involved, like once the dancers came on, the Make Mod dancers came on, you like moved back on the stage and we're sort of not in the front anymore. We're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, just went over like the side area.
And is that like something that you thought about purposely, like drifting back?
Me and Jody talked about
planned
it.
that.
Jody was the girl that sang.
Yeah, shout out Jody
Upshot.
Upshot.
When we were doing
Jody
soundcheck,
Upshot.
we stayed in the middle, and we were because originally I was staying at the drum machine.
Yeah.
And we were there, and then I saw them come out and soundcheck, and I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't let's just move to the side kind of thing. So we ended up putting Jody on the left, and she just did the whole performance there. But I kind of went over this way and just kind of opened it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
The way-
performance went great, man.
The way you drifted
Solid.
back and weren't really like in the front of the group anymore. There was a moment that hit me that I think it was just with what that song's about and everything, and being a Nova Scotian, that stage at that moment was like, this is exactly what how good Nova Scotia can sound. And I mean that in all the metaphors that it should be too. Like how well we can be as a place. Because you had Mi'kmaq, like native drumming, I would say sort of like at least a black gospel kind of sense on there, right? Like people singing.
Yeah, the mass choir.
Right.
Yeah, there was 8
so
of
you've got
them.
like black people, you've got native people, and you've got you, a white guy, and you don't stay out in the front like, yo, it's the whole way that you've addressed that whole thing. I think it was summed up in that one move. You like slid back and just like not slunk away, but like just kind of were part of it. And I was like, that's just, honestly, in my mind at that moment I went, that's Scotia and how good it could be if we could all like just take find a way. I don't know answers there, but it was like a moment that went right in my soul, man. I love that. The way you moved, it was slick. And the way you handle that whole song feels like you've been
too, so I'm glad,
starting it
glad
and
it
dropping
worked out
back.
good,
It's
bro.
like with that whole thing, it seems like
But
you're
that-
like, yo,
that's how
this
it-
is important. And then
Yeah.
somebody else, and it's like, that is huge. So like, man, like I can't even, mad respect for that.
Thank you, man.
I gotta move off this or we'll be here all night talking about this, but people should definitely like get educated on that and vote around it, you know.
Definitely.
The people that make decisions about this actually work for us, so you can take them out if you don't like what they're doing, and I don't. Then you move to like Fallen.
Fallen?
Yeah,
It's my jam.
that's your jam.
That's
Talk to me about Fallen.
That's my favorite song I've made in years.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It was just a beat we made on the fly. There was a guy in the studio wrote this hook, and just whenever I hear it, like I'm not a guy that likes to hear my shit at parties or anywhere.
Yeah.
But I can hear that and be like, yeah, leave it on.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it's
cool.
dope.
That would be the one I'll be playing.
That's the
When
one
you
that
walk
I'm like,
in, I'll be
that's just, and I don't
that-
even know why. Like other people don't react to it like I do. Like I've noticed it. Like right out the gate, I was like, yo, that's the first single. That's
Really?
And then as I showed more people, I was like, okay, maybe that's just my shit. You know what I mean? So I made sure like that's gonna be the song we drop with the EP. Like,
All right.
but it's weird because that first verse I wrote to a different song that was like a 3-step beat. It was really fast, and then all of a sudden, just end of the day, I threw this beat on and tried the verse on there just because it made no sense why it would even work. Because I don't know, for those who understand, there's like 4-step beats and there's 3-step beats, and usually you can't do a verse that works on this on the other. And I just tried it, and it was just smooth and felt just super chill. Just really liked it. So just that vibe of the song I like.
You have a line in there about
Can
like,
you tell I like that song?
yeah, a lot. The hurt in me brings out the hurt in you. Yeah. It's that song sounds like that's one that seems the darkest on there, really, to me. Other than like,
And it kind of
I
is. Like
guess.
the beat
Not
is
dark.
kind of happy and jamming.
Yeah,
but like
but the
that is,
lyrics
but
are
even
like-
the verse of life is moving fast paced. Got me running through this rat race. No one wants to come in last place. And just even talking about it's almost like the video. We shot the video. It's like me people watching. Like in the video, I'm just walking down this. It starts with 2 cars kind of bump into each other. Guys get out and they're kind of arguing. You know what I mean? Road rage. A guy punches the guy and he falls in slow motion. And that's it. I don't know what it is. I'm falling. And then I'm just kind of walking down the street, walking by this as it's all happening behind me, kind of people watching and shit. And that's kind of what the verses is, just kind of observing what's going on.
Interesting. Ivy, I was wondering, like, with all your, time with class, like, there must be something you'd want to ask him, from the Ivy vaults. I'm like, what about this time?
Ivy don't want to ask me nothing.
Oh, yeah,
we talk all the time. He just calls me and asks me.
But the people aren't privy to what Ivy might, quiz them on, though.
I mean, I wouldn't even be questions. It's fun talking about.
I was gonna call you yesterday.
What?
To see if your brother.
Here we go.
Because his brother Marv does like construction.
Yeah.
Can he build bowls?
Bowls?
Like a skate bowl? I know he builds half pipes and stuff.
You want to build a bowl?
We already started.
Oh, you just.
We started on Sunday.
So we're just talking a fire, like a little.
It's added onto the half pipe.
He could probably help you, but the boys from Postgate's probably be better to help you.
Just open a quick friend hookup.
Anyway,
that's what we talk about.
I'll let him know you're
shit
building
like
the
that.
bowl.
I try to get hookups from him.
I'll let him know
what
you're
we
building
talk.
the bowl. He might want to come out and do something.
The last one on the first 6 is called Finish It.
Finish It.
Yeah. And my very first question I have to ask you is, were you a big Oilers fan?
Yeah, bud.
Yeah? That Curry line is too good for me. I love it.
Because most people won't connect.
I'm of the age that I would understand the reference.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Have you ever heard of the Cult of Dunn?
Nope.
You should look up the Cult of Dunn when you go home. I think you'd really like it. It's all about the idea that things, chasing perfection isn't like really a great idea, and you should, finish things so that they're done, so you can like look at them and see what they are and like move on and like whatever.
I totally believe that.
It's a great one. But
That's
that whole song made me think of that.
Half of my yard work done. I don't do a lot of yard work.
Yeah.
Like a person, I should be doing yard work.
Should you be doing yard work?
Yeah, I got like I got a good sized yard,
Nice.
so you try to look after.
What about a
make it
ride
look
on?
nice.
Do you have a ride on?
Yeah, I got a ride on.
Well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
That's blunt
mowing
city.
the lawn's not hard, but
That's blunt city.
You gotta get out of the you gotta get out of the studio sometimes. Get some fresh air.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, I always start shit like yesterday on Sunday. That's what kind of happened. We have a half pipe we built 5 years ago, and me and my boys were like, man, we should turn this into a bowl.
Damn right.
So we just went and bought some wood, started building. We got the other quarter pipe on, got to the corner. None of us ever built half pipes.
So
in
you're
the corner.
trying to get the little round parts in the corner.
Oh,
half pipe
yeah.
part's easy. That shit's all done. But we've never did the corners and realized how much edging and.
Oh yeah, you gotta
need
cut those angles.
You gotta be talented for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got three braces in today in an hour and a half. I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Man, you should just get.
That's what I did after my lemon juice this morning.
You should get a little
worked on the half
concrete
pipe.
thing going there, man.
That's
It's right in the ground, concrete little bowl.
No, you can get wood for like $600. Build a whole half pipe concrete. You'll pay like
6,000.
We got the concrete hookers, man. We'll call Rude Dog.
You only need it for a couple of years.
In that song, Finish It, you say you came in the game with a slight disadvantage. What was that?
I'm from Enfield.
Geographic.
Definitely not an advantage.
All right, I'll ask you something.
All right.
How many times did you hitchhike to the city, though? For real?
Not a whole lot, honestly. More through Enfield to Milford and back and forth, like to school.
Milford again.
Okay.
Shuby. my girlfriend lived in Shubenacadie, which is like right past Milford. But Halifax only, I think every time it was to go to Joe's house. So probably like 4 or 5 times.
That's killing, though.
Yeah.
That's
and
killing.
then I moved into the city.
You really got to hitchhike to get into the city.
Yeah.
Or you steal. Sometimes we take Dad's car.
Steal cars?
No.
What?
Just Dad's
This country
car.
shit?
Whoa. Allegedly.
Dad he'd be home at 5 o'clock from work, and
Allegedly.
we had another car. And I swear to God, we used to do this. We used to take the car, drive into the city, get back. One time we put it up on the things, and you can make the wheels go back.
Yeah.
That shit used to really work. I don't think it does in cars now.
It
But
used to
in
work.
our time,
It did.
put your kilometers
Yep.
back.
That worked.
Yeah.
This isn't the greatest of all time category. Who's the greatest of all time Canadian MC? You can't say yourself.
Damn, because I was gonna.
You could have 2 answers. You and someone else.
Yeah. Of all time?
All time.
I don't know. What do you think?
What about your favorite then of all time? It's not to be best.
I'd say if I was gonna pick the best of all time, it'd be between Maestro Fresh West and Drake.
Yeah. I like those choices. I
You know
like
what I mean,
those.
10 years ago, I would have said Maestro.
Yeah,
Within the last 10 years, I'd say Drake.
I like that. What do you
Somewhere
think?
in that world.
Yeah.
Tell me someone
it's
that. Tell
spot
me
on.
someone. Tell
It's
me
spot
someone
on.
else.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Not trying to argue, but tell me someone.
Tell me so.
You know what?
You
Don't
know.
get me wrong. There's other people that are up there, even talented-wise, everything. But I mean, for what you've done, your recognition, in
Dream
the game,
Warriors.
the world. Dream Warriors, yeah, another group.
But,
No,
But it wasn't
as
as
a,
long as my. You know what
as
I mean?
a
No, no,
hip
no,
hop
no.
head,
Effective,
as
but
a
there's-
hip hop head,
Cardi?
and a realist,
Cardi's another one.
that
Mad
is
Child.
spot on though.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
No, no, no,
Get
no.
a
And I
better
asked.
answer
Cardi,
than
there's
that.
Mad Child,
That's
there's
favorite,
Socrates.
Yeah.
There's, you know, I know I'm forgetting a million right now. Snow.
But lyrics though, like people that had fame, that's
MCJ and Cool G.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
no. I'm just saying the Maestro and Drake.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
that's spot on.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. Who's the greatest of all time slept on MC? Like someone you love that you're like, why is this person not?
Probably me.
Again.
I'm just gonna say me every time.
All right then.
I'm just joking.
Greatest of
So
all
no,
time.
wait.
Beatmaker is also you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No wait, what was the best?
Like-
best slept on MC?
Yeah, like where you're like they're the greatest, but I don't know why. Like, you know, they're very, very good, and I don't know why they're slept on. Like,
Miracle.
yeah,
Good answer.
good answer. Good answer. Best beatmaker. Not
Just
you.
of all time, anybody?
Yeah, just your favorite, I should say, instead of best. People seem to get a little nervous around best. I feel like then they have to like, you know,
I don't
qualify
have like a
instead of-
favorite because I have years, kind of
Yeah.
like with the Drake and Kanye
Yeah,
thing,
okay.
or the Drake and
Yeah, yeah.
Maestro thing. But like for five different years, well, fuck, I could even throw in 91 Nature at one time, like KG and all that old
Okay.
Hilltown. But then you'd have like Primo, Dre, Timberland, and Kanye, which are probably most people. Those are probably the typical. Jay Dilla could be another one that's in there. Ninth Wonder, I like a lot of his stuff, but not as long.
Not as
epic, I guess.
Black Milk.
Black Milk's dope, but again,
But yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
No,
mean,
I like
mean,
that.
other producers who produce hits for other people as well as themselves, but multiple people. But if you had to pick one, I think it would have to be Dre, just because Eminem, Snoop, Kendrick,
Yeah.
NWA.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like a whole sound, like a
like
whole.
that's like, and those aren't just like acts that had some success. Those are like monsters.
Yeah.
Those are like.
No, those are like historical.
So if you had to
pillars.
go by that, I'd say Dre, which.
And all the
Love that
other
too.
Dre stuff that never gets mentioned that we love so much. Just all those B-side album type Dog Pound.
Oh
and-
yeah, true.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
totally.
Like, just all those little albums
Yeah.
that just never got as much love as, you know, the typical Dre
Even
stuff.
DOC, like going back,
Yeah.
like there's
Oh,
like so many
DOC.
that's like, you know, 7 or 8 acts really that are probably.
Exhibit,
Was
all
he
that stuff.
West Side Connect?
I liked Exhibit better when he was before Dre.
Yeah, but he still had some bangers
Paparazzi and all
with
that
Dre,
shit.
though.
He had some stuff, but like Exhibit's first album was
No, his
like,
first album was way better.
that was ridiculous.
Your favorite or like greatest of all time tour to this date?
that I've done.
Yeah.
Probably the one with I don't know, man, the D12 ones were fun.
That's
was
what
that?
I was gonna
But then
say.
the one with Quake and KO, the Cross Canada
that
one,
was the best Cross Canada
that was
one.
that was a fun.
When
song.
was the D12 one?
Handshakes and middle fingers? I think.
D12
That
was
would've been,
2009.
No, 2011.
2009.
2011.
It was a pretty good one.
Okay,
then.
which one?
Good tour.
No,
Okay,
you're
we're
right.
talking about the other ones though.
Yeah, I'm not talking
I'm-
about the Canada one.
I'm talking about
the Europe
D12.
one. Yeah, the Europe one.
It was 2009, 2010. It was
Alright,
2000.
whatever. It was around
It
late
was like
2000.
It was like.
Why was that so-
It was
why was
like
it so good?
2008 going into 2009.
I think it was just because we were on
Because
tour
we're
with
in.
so many people
we're in.
too.
Because this is how it went. We were in the fall with them across Canada,
Yeah.
and then we went in February to overseas.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was 2008.
2008 going into 2009.
It was a month after my first daughter was born. She She was born October 1st, and we went on tour November like 2nd. That was fun.
2008, 2009.
I remember getting the call. I was like, nope, just had a kid, can't go.
I remember that was.
Then I had to talk with the manager.
Crazy.
2 hours later, it's like, all right, we're going. And I'm glad we did. Like that turned into us going to Europe with them guys, like, you know, and still talk to those guys. So
the best tour ever. So much fun.
What made it so great?
You're on tour with Joe Budden, Royce 5'9", D12. What do you mean? We're on a tour bus with these guys.
That's what I mean. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I think it's just because, you know, guys that even, like, because usually when we tour, it's just us. You know, we'll bring a couple friends to open up or, like, people we work with or here and there. And it was us, but it was, like, all these other guys that people we look up to as music. Royce is, like, to me, one of the best MCs of all time.
Man, been using Royce's music in battles for years,
and them just being on the bus hanging out, like, it was, like, you know, at the same time, we're a bunch of dudes from fucking Nova Scotia. We're like, are these guys going to fucking like us? Like, you know, is this going to be some weird shit for a month, living on the bus with these guys? And I remember we showed up in Montreal. We did our shit, and they didn't get in because customs held them up or whatever. And then they came in, did their thing, but it was after we were already done. And I remember walking in the room, meeting them all, because me and Royce met each other a couple years before with a track we did with Chocolate. But walking in the room, they're just all like, you could just tell they're kind of like, who the fuck are these guys that are just on our bus, and we got to live with these guys. And then we went to Ottawa the next day. Yeah. And I remember they seen our show, and as soon as we came off stage, every one of them came over and go, oh, fuck, we didn't know, man. And the whole thing was different. It was like, okay, now we're just chilling or whatever.
Because we were like, you know, the local openers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they didn't,
you know what I mean? They're like, basically, these guys are opening the show. We took Obi Trice's spot. That's what it was.
Yeah.
He canceled last minute. And the booking agent was like, look, Class is going to do this. And we did that shit cheap. Like, I think we did it for $500 a show, which at that time we were making fucking money for shows. But they're like, look, we'll give you $500. Just go on the bus with them. It'll be comfortable. We're like, all right. And then you could tell they were just like, oh, really? Like the local guys, we just got to give up beds on the bus and stuff. But then as soon as they saw the show and saw what was up, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
It was on.
And then it was cool. It was like a party for a month with these, you know, guys that we look up to in the industry and what they do, and just chilling and hanging. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Where's the best city to play besides Halifax?
London.
Ontario?
Yeah.
Why?
Edmonton's always good. I don't know. London's just always been.
Yeah, London's a party place for sure.
London more so even back in the day. Like London was the spot. Like that was our spot. Coming up to tour, be like, London's in 3 days.
Really?
Yeah.
But it like just now always showed up.
Now it's almost more like
Edmonton, Calgary.
Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver.
They're always good. Van's amazing.
And Vancouver used to never be that great. It was kind of slow, but now like Van's.
Oh, Van's the best. Play at the Commodore. Woo! Remember Much Music?
Winnipeg's really good now.
Remember Much Music, going coastal?
Yeah.
Remember when they used to flash all the venues up on the screen? Like, we pretty much play all those.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? But the Commodore was like the one that you used to see like from Vancouver. And as soon as we played there, man, you walk into that place, man.
Yeah, that's probably like the nicest venue in the country.
Man.
Really?
Metropolis in Montreal.
Yeah, man. Cool. That Montreal gig was amazing.
In Toronto,
too,
man. Like Toronto, I've had like the Sound Academy.
Sound Academy was dope.
Opera House. Like we've had some killing shows there.
Yeah, Opera House was dope.
Is there a moment?
Phoenix Center, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Is there a moment out of all of that stands out as like one where you were like kind of, you know, pinch yourself or like find yourself like, whoa, like where am I? Or like this is, you know, that moment of like I'm that kid from Enfield. Like
yeah.
How the fuck?
I think about it all the time, but I don't sit there and just like, you know, it always like right now I'm like, yeah, I know it's pretty fucked up. You know, coming from Enfield and then being able to rap for fucking we going for Wu-Tang in Montreal in front of like 80,000 people.
Holy shit.
Like just standing there and just be like, this is, you know.
But
it's not one of those things that I take home and I'm just like, yeah, I did it. Like I don't dwell on it, you know what I mean? But when you step back and think about it, it's like, yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Who would have bet on that? You know what I mean? Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much for like coming through here, and
all good.
I love everything I've heard on the first half of this project, and I think people are gonna love it too when they hear it. And it's always like, feel free to come back anytime. The cut is always open for Classified here to You know,
I
drop
was
music,
wondering when I was
got
going to get the
opinions.
invite. I had to ask Ivy.
Man,
I
you
was like, man, you
already
did
know.
like 20 episodes.
I've
man.
been
Yeah.
asking
We were
you,
trying to play coy with
man.
you, where it was like, nah,
He said,
man,
no,
we
we're
good.
gonna save it. We're gonna save it.
We were like, we're just looking at, you know, MCs that have sort of done something, have a career, you know. We'll get to you eventually.
It's the perfect time, though. It's the perfect time because, you know, the new material's out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
totally.
ending the
you
season.
know?
And, you know, I want to thank all the people that have been watching and subscribing and all our Patreon patrons.
We ain't going nowhere, though. We're coming back.
Yeah, we're going to get on the road for a little bit, film a few off-site
We
here
got
and there.
summer. We got to get out and enjoy the summer.
That's right. So you're probably going to get a chance to, like, meet us, maybe sit down with us in some impromptu situations. It's going to be dope. Class, I want to ask you, like, what's coming up for you for the, you know, the summer? You got music dropping, so you're, like, you heading out?
Just raising kids, man.
Raising kids.
Raising kids. Gonna do some rap music on the side.
Yeah. I think a good reality show would be where you have like a daycare. And it's like a rap
That
daycare.
is not that is our reality show. I got 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
And like,
What are the ages
they
of
all
your
have
kids?
friends.
Oh shit, that's the
And
problem.
their friends are all sisters. Like, there's like a group of them where there's literally about 9 or 10 kids every weekend at my house. Going crazy. It's like a day. It should be a TV show.
Seems like a reality show in the
Yeah.
making.
That's why I spend 7 days in the studio sometimes. Just lock the door. You don't hear a thing.
You just count
do
the
you-
kids. You're like
yeah.
9
So-
days.
Running by the window in the studio, and just there's a couple.
So you love it now, but are you dreading the teenage years? Where they, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, I'm scared of it.
where they get attitude.
But at the same time, there'll be good shit about it. Good and bad shit. That's just the way it is.
so you
There'll
don't
be good
dread
things
it.
about it where we go. We can watch movies that we, are both grown up. You know what I mean? There's gonna be good things, and then there's gonna be some really shitty things. But
Are you excited to meet the boyfriends?
maybe
Not excited.
I'm not worried about it. I know I probably should be, but it's one of those things where I'll just deal with it. Deal with that in a couple years.
We had Tack in here the other day, and he's
Oh yeah, he's probably
He's very
going
excited.
in.
he's
Yeah.
very excited.
He's
to meet the
already
boyfriends.
going in. He's like pre-going in.
He already has his lines written out.
what he's gonna say?
Oh yeah,
This
yeah,
is what
yeah.
I
He's
do,
got a
this is
whole.
what you need to understand, and this is how it's gonna go down.
Exactly. Can you take a look right here for us and, tell the people where they should go to get this new project, when it's coming out, that kind of thing. And maybe throw, if you would, to your favorite video or a video that, you'd like to send this into.
Anybody?
Well, no, of yours.
Oh. I was gonna just throw
Just
some shit.
anybody.
Yeah.
I'll shout out to all our sponsors. Check them at the
Yes,
end
shout
and the
out.
beginning of this.
Shout out! We got to give a proper shout out. It's the end of the season. You know what I mean? We've been ducking it. We've been ducking it. Shout out to Mary Jane. Shout out to Ascensions.
Yeah.
Shout out to Arbacor Designs for the Love Dependence.
True.
Shout out to
True.
the Better Beer Company.
True. Shout out to Panda Print.
Shout out to Canadian Lumber, Rolling Papers, keeping us smoking.
Yeah. It's been
Shout
a
out.
good first season. A lot of people came through.
Shout
I
out
think
to
that people
everybody
have
for
enjoyed it.
subscribing.
And I know I've enjoyed it, man. We're going to keep killing. Shout out to the devil.
Shout out to the devil holding us down.
And next time we see you, it's going to be somewhere fly. So be prepared.
For next year.
That being said,
It won't be next year.
Next season. Just rhymed, man. I was trying to throw it in.
trying to rhyme. You can't even hold them back. Please, if you would, sir, tell the people where to get this project.
Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. Wherever you listen to music. Sam the Record Man, HMV.
Records on
If
wheels.
you can find one, they might be
HMV.
there. It comes out June 29th, so
What's it called?
tomorrow could be.
Dot, dot, dot.
Thank
There
you
it
so
is.
much for coming through, man.
All good, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, brother.
Ivy,
All right,
Respect
man.
as always.
till next week,
Yes, sir.
till next season. To you people out there, tell the people that you care about that you care about them, and we will see you next season. Bam!
What videos we going to though?
Changes.
I'm going to keep doing this.
Changes.
Right there.
The Discman video. Number 2. Let's try this one.
Shadows swimming in my head lately, but I don't mind. See, I'm not gonna let me go crazy, not this time. I'm going
Heaven shaved, heaven showered, heaven changed. Same clothes, different day. Another good morning pissed away. Hey, got the whole world looking right at me. Actually, feels like people starting to look past me. I've been around. Feels like this just might be a last dance. I'm frustrated, I'm past tense. I still don't feel like I has been. I don't, but it's like a ghost town up in the studio. Nobody comes around here no more. I guess it's just how the movie go. I don't like playing my old friends' new songs. They don't listen to rap like back when. They all grew up, kinda moved on. And how could I blame them, huh? I used to sleep, eat, and breathe this shit. But now the older I get, I'm questioning if I really needed this. I used to stress what people said and what people thought about me. Now I worry about if my daughter can make it home from school without me. But still at the same time, as I'm writing this rhyme, I'm in my kitchen. My daughter's trying to tell me about a day. I hear her but not really listening. I'm staring at her, but in my head I'm putting these words together. I know that I need to do better, cause what I do now could change forever.
Shadows swimming in my head lately, but I don't mind. See, I'm not gonna let me go crazy, not this time. I'm going through changes, I'm gonna make it for sure.
It's a fall from paradise.
I'm going through changes and I've been here before.
And I know I'm so indecisive these days. And musically I feel confused, don't know what I'm like in these days. I just think of time to check all the new shit, plus all of the drugs they doing. And I know I'm a hypocrite, I smoke these spliffs only cause Snoop did. Glad it was just weed, but even with that I'm noticing I'm losing my passion. I'm getting too high, it's harder to focus with. And all of my parthead friends, they take pride in it. And all my alcoholic friends denying it. And all my cokehead friends, they still hiding it. I'm just hoping all of us survive this shit. Damn, I was never too good at showing emotions. I get awkward at serious times, uncomfortable in genuine moments. I ain't big on giving hugs, I use this music to show my love. That's why it's so important. But lately it don't seem so rewarding, something's changed.
Shadows swimming in my head lately, but I don't mind. See, I'm not gonna let me go crazy, not this time. I know. I'm going through changes, I'm gonna make it for sure.
It's a fall from paradise.
I'm going through changes and I've been here before.
Let's go. They told me call it a day. They told me maybe that's it. Then I get these messages from my fans who tell me don't ever quit, cause my music saved their life. Like literally they heard my song on the way to the train tracks, and something I said's the reason they came back. I used to convince my fans, just give me a chance. But now they're the ones convincing me. And I used to convince the fans to believe in me and my truth. And now my fans believe in me, maybe more than I do.